The teams in front of them are much tougher to beat than the team they beat on Monday night. I understand how great they look. I think it's possible they could get there, but to beat San Francisco and then win what amounts to a third NFC East game against an opponent, I think that's going to be pretty tricky.
Okay, so we'll move past them for the moment. We'll come back to them. Here's one that I find fascinating. If people are saying, Brock Purdy is going to be the starting quarterback in San Francisco next year, is that an overreaction?
No, I don't think it is. I think it's entirely possible that Brock Purdy's the starter. Really, they could win the Super Bowl with him. How could you possibly say to him, hey, thanks for winning the Super Bowl. You're now our backup going into next year. No, he has shown them everything they've needed to see. I think at this point, I think the 49ers feel like they may have found their quarterback, and what that means for everybody else on the roster will be fascinating.
Particularly Trey Lance.
Yes.
That's it's not
He's
today's
only 22 years old, Trey Lance.
They traded everything in the world to go up and make him the third pick in the draft, and now all of a sudden Mr. Irrelevant could be their quarterback. It's not today's story, but that is something to talk about. All right, one more. If people are saying Aaron Rodgers is going to demand a trade out of Green Bay, is that an overreaction?
I think it is, yes. And while it is within the range of potential outcomes, a year ago it felt like he was not long for Green Bay, that he was done there, and they redid a contract. And the way they did the contract, Greeny, we've been over this, really makes it look like he wants to be there next year as well as this past year. So I think we hear what he's saying. I think he's really mulling a decision. And when all is said and done, I think he stays put.
All right, so the contract says one thing, but to your point, Rodgers kind of said another. Here he was, in case you missed it, with Pat McAfee on Tuesday talking about his future.
Do I still think I can play? Of course. Of course. Can I play at a high level? Yeah. The highest. I think I can win MVP again in the right situation. Right situation, is that Green Bay or is that somewhere else? I'm not sure. But I don't think you should shut down any, opportunity.
All right, fascinating. I mean, what can I tell? What's with the look on the face of Bart Scott?
Here goes another offseason with dealing with this drama, man. I feel like I'm on General Hospital or Days of Our Lives, man. Every day with this guy. He knows exactly what he's doing.
What's he doing?
Listen, he's taking us along for the ride. Like, I know he's going to go off and he's going to, man, can you handle this again? A whole nother year of this drama, man. But I tell you what, like, they have to make a decision. Either you got to be all in with Aaron Rodgers, or you got to be all out. And they got to make a decision early because he's talking about, he doesn't want to, rebuild. So they got to make some decisions. Like, they got to come out of character. Like, for years we sit on this stage all the time and we talk about how, listen, they operate a certain way. They have to go get him the necessary weapons. They have to push all their chips in the middle of the table because who cares if you save money, you're financially responsible if you don't win a championship. And he is dangerously close to Drew Brees type of territory, a Hall of Famer, and you ask yourself, why did he only win one Super Bowl? And that's what you're measured on when you talk about, it's different levels of the Hall of Fame. You got to win multiple Super Bowls. Right now, he's teetering there with Drew Brees. He'll never be considered one of the greats because he only won one Super Bowl with all that talent.
He said two things. There were two things in that we have to analyze. The first is, can he still play at an MVP level? He did not this season. They had a lot of problems in Green Bay this year. And I'm not going to suggest he was one of the biggest, but he certainly didn't solve them with his play. And the second is that a team that if they do some semblance of what Bart is talking about, are they a legit championship contender next year, Damian Woody?
Well, listen, to answer your first question, I think he can be an MVP again next season.
Yeah.
There was a lot of circumstances, the broken thumb that we talked about, but some of it was his own fault. Like you go out and you draft 2 rookie wide receivers. Well, where were you in the offseason? Why weren't you taking reps? Things are happening. Like you can't expect production during the season if you're not getting those reps, off-season training camp, stuff like that, man. So some of that is Aaron Rodgers' own doing, but I still feel like he's going to go back to Green Bay.
What an egomaniac this guy is. So
Yeah.
I envision walking into his home and above the mantle on the fireplace is just a painting of him like this.
With angel wings.
Just like this, like just looking at you. And yeah, I'm the MVP. A lot of eyes in there. Nothing about the team or, this team, the organization. Green Bay Packers have been here a long time. I hope I could get them back to a Super Bowl.
It's fascinating you say that. You know who else heard that? Your old buddy, and your old teammate, Rob Gronkowski.
Gronkowski?
Of all people.
Of all people.
Rob Gronkowski was put off by the way Aaron Rodgers handled that. Listen to Gronk.
Whoa.
Why are you thinking MVP? Like, don't you want Super Bowls? Like, Super Bowls are I think, 5 times greater than an MVP award. Like, we all know that you won the MVP a few times now, but, like, you know, everyone would know even more how many more Super Bowls you've won than MVPs.
And that's
I'm speechless. I mean, that's Gronk preaching.
Are you like a proud father, Nico?
I mean,
He's actually serious there. I don't know how to take it.
I don't either. I don't know. I don't know how to react to
serious.
serious Gronk, but he's making an interesting point.
Yes.
Are you put off by the fact that he's talking about MVP instead of winning the Super Bowl?
I am, because that's what all players are measured about. That's why he'll never be considered one of the greats, in my opinion. And that's what makes Tom Brady so great, because he sacrificed money so that he can be an immortal, right? It's no debate of who's the greatest quarterback of all time. Most talented, maybe Aaron Rodgers. Best winner? No, because he put himself before the team. And I feel like he's doing this again. And, you know, but because they gave him a contract, they have to, you know, succumb to his wishes. And I think DeAndre Hopkins is the only thing that can put him to that elite level. To do that, that means they have to go. Yeah, I mean, he's available, right? They got to stack the deck. Like, he doesn't have a great receiver. He doesn't have a top 15 receiver. They have to do that.
Maybe Christian Watkins and Romeo Doubs turn into that. Maybe they don't. Are you willing to roll the dice on a $60 million quarterback and wait to find out that answer?
I think the bigger issue here is if you are outside, if you're not Aaron Rodgers and you're on the team and you're with management, what do we do here? Like, we're just waiting. We're just waiting for him to say, I'm ready to go for another year. Or, we'll see, it might be somewhere else. I might be here. I still feel like I could play at a high level, but it might not be in Green Bay. I might not play. You need to know, are you going to be the quarterback here? We have things to do. We have to make some decisions. Please let us know, because last year we lost the best receiver in football because you were indecisive.
Quickly, Dan Graziano, if he decides he wants to continue playing and it's somewhere else, and the Packers decide that's okay with us, can that even happen? I'm looking at a number on the screen that says they owe him $58 million.
Well, right.
How does this work?
So the acquiring team would inherit the salary, right? They would have to pay him the $58 million. The way the contract is structured, they have a deadline to pick up an option bonus, but that deadline is not till week 1 of the season. So they could wait to trade him until after June 1st, and then the cap hit for them is pretty small.
But the point is, this trade doesn't happen until June 1st if it happens, right?
Yeah. It doesn't make a lot of sense for the Packers to do it before June 1st. No, it would be financially detrimental.
Yeah, be that team waiting for him to June 1st
that's
to make
the
decisions.
point. I mean,
and what kind of chemistry we have with those receivers?
And look, I mean, now every team goes through free agency and the draft.